I figured this was fitting for the episode tonight.
So listen, we got about 60 to 70 new subscribers in the past 2 weeks, so we should probably at least kind of let people know what we do. So for anybody new checking this out, our channel, we try to do something very different than everybody else is doing. So our flagship show is our trivia show. We usually do that Wednesday nights. This week was my daughter's birthday on Wednesday, so we switched it to Friday night. So, but normally every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. we do our trivia show, So You Think You Know the Faith. Tonight, and then our other shows are usually just like goofy stuff in between that, like if something comes up, you know, in conversation, we'll say, hey, let's go talk about that on air. We try to stay away from church drama. We don't criticize the hierarchy. If something major is happening in the church, we will discuss it. We did discuss the Shia LaBeouf interview recently, things like that. But
Roe v. Wade.
Roe v. Wade. But we do try to keep it light on this channel. We think that people need to remember how fun it is to be Catholic. And there's so many people doing the clickbait, like, you know, world is ending type stuff every day. So we try to do something a little different here. So if you are seeing this video for the first time, please like and subscribe. If you guys are watching live, there's only 6 of you tonight, so we usually get a little bigger audience than that, but it's not the trivia show, so we're just going to hang and hope everybody checks this one out on the replay. Now, the reason this show came up is because the other day, Joe made a passing comment about the Titanic never sinking.
No. See, the first thing I wanted to do was clarify what was in the title. The Titanic sunk, but the question is why. It's not.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna get into it.
So you don't hold that it was the Olympic?
No, I hold that. I mean, I don't know if it was another ship or not. I hadn't gone that far, but I do believe that a ship sunk with three important people on it.
Okay, so Jack,
Rose.
And who was the third?
Right.
All right, so I put a goofy title up there because everybody thinks conspiracy. They think Alex Jones.
We should have White Wolf come on for this.
Look up Yamashita's Gold. Yo, if you guys have any, this is good because if you guys have any recommendations of conspiracies we should look up, we will. Now, I know Robbie, last time we did this conspiracy show, he told me that there's more than one Joe Biden. And I don't know if, wait, were we talking? That was just video of it? Like they were,
Yeah, I think that's when you was in the back of your boat that night.
That's right.
It might have been that episode. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a wacky show that night. So I do want to we're going to start with Titanic because I always just assumed the Titanic sunk. I didn't know there was any kind of controversy behind it or any kind of conspiracy behind it. And then Joe kind of blew my mind the other day. So I figured let's get on there and let's talk about this. So Joe, kick us off. What do you know about the Titanic? What's the conspiracy behind it?
So everything you need to know about the Titanic is in the thread that we spoke about. Basically, that tweet that you put out. Wait, the Titanic didn't happen. That keeps getting likes. I've been noticing, and it's making me laugh too. But all right, so there's a fact check on Reuters, right? Which is like Snopes, one of these fact-checking websites. Yeah. You know, an alleged third party. It's basically the experts fact-checking themselves. So the title is basically corrected in all caps. Fact check. J.P. Morgan did not sink the Titanic to push forward plans for the U.S. Federal Reserve. Now, to translate that, J.P. Morgan did sink the Titanic.
Just not for that reason.
No, for the Federal Reserve. That's why he did it.
Okay. So usually what they do in a fact check, real quick though. So a fact check, what they'll do is they'll frame it in a way where it's like, okay, so like they'll say the Titanic was not sunk on purpose for the insurance money, but really it was, you know, and that'll be the fact check. But really, it was sunk on purpose just for a different reason. So that's why I said that.
I think what they want you to believe is that it was just an accident. But the three names that we have to pay attention to are John Astor, Isidor Straus, and Benjamin Guggenheim. Now, these three fellows were against the formation of the Federal Reserve. And J.P. Morgan was instrumental in the foundation of the Federal Reserve. And it just so happens that these three men were on a unsinkable passenger ship that ran into an iceberg and sunk, and now we have the Federal Reserve.
Okay, so now Rob,
and there was a book that was written about it too, that lined up with everything before the actual Titanic sank.
Okay, so now Rob, there's a second ship though. So Rick Barrett actually showed me a picture of two ships that look almost identical. One's the Titanic, and what's the other ship called, Rob?
The Olympic,
Okay,
or Olympia, I forget.
Yeah, so the two ships look identical. They were twin ships. So they'll do that a lot of times when they build ships. They'll build two at the same time with the exact same blueprint. The only difference was one had like a canopy over the outside deck or something like that, and it's like you don't. Oh, it's the Olympic. Rick says it's the Olympic. So, so now Rob heard another theory that it's really the Olympic that sunk because they wanted the insurance money or something. What happened?
From what I've read, is the Olympic had been in a collision earlier, either the year before or earlier that year, and because of that, they could not get the insurance money to fix it properly or something like that. So the idea is that
they slapped the Titanic on it,
right?
Sent it out.
Whatever cosmetic differences there were, they changed it real quick, and sent it out as the Titanic, more or less to sink it, and then claim the insurance money on the Titanic instead of on the Olympic.
Okay, so that theory doesn't have anything to do with the Federal Reserve. That's just about insurance money.
They seem unrelated, yeah.
Yeah.
Granted, two birds with one stone. I mean,
well, that's right. That occurred to me too.
Could be.
Yeah.
So now, Robbie, you told me you wanted to do a conspiracy show too, because you go deep down the rabbit holes with some of these things.
I got a lot of rabbit holes. Entertainment rabbit hole.
Yeah, you were talking about like deep fakes with Biden and stuff like that.
The three-letter agencies got, they got a whole like agency within the agency that produce these like masks, like these real life looking masks of people, and that you could put on, and you would
like Face Off.
No,
like the movie Face Off.
Yeah, Mission Impossible.
Face Off.
Like Mission Impossible.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah. They do, and I've seen it.
So it's not working out. It's not digitally done.
No, it's not digital. That's why Hollywood works very close with a lot of them all the time. They produce a lot of their stuff for them, and which is why you see in the news, right? They got a lot of. Man, I don't want to get us kicked off, but just say like they got their tentacles in that too, right? So when you look at it all, it's all show business. You know what I'm saying? That's why when you look at your government, the government is all show business, man.
Well, the CIA absolutely has like a say in Hollywood. Like 90% of like action movies are propaganda films for the three-letter agencies. You know what I mean? Like they had us thinking that like the Jason Bourne movies and stuff like that, that's what it's like to be in the CIA, when in reality the CIA is just pulling off color revolutions on their own country, ruining their own people. They're not these undercover spies in other countries laid up like that. They're just manipulating the outcomes of elections and things like that. Like I blame those three-letter agencies for everything now.
Yeah, like you ain't off. Yeah, that's like spot on.
Somebody pointed out the other day that like Glenn Greenwald wrote in 2020, he said, right before the election, he said, if Biden wins, the power structure will be the three-letter agencies along with the Democratic Party enforcing their own like rule of law, doing things like that. And I'm like, and everybody's like, oh, he called it. I'm like, but that was the power structure while Trump was in office. Like that power structure always existed. They just have their front man up there now. Like, but they were still, I mean, think about the Russia collusion hoax. Think about like all that stuff was all nonsense just to stop Trump from doing anything.
It's interesting because when I was a little kid, when I would go to New York, right, I would, be in Harlem or whatever, getting a hot dog from the hot dog guys on the street. They admired Trump. They called him the blue collar millionaire. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
saw that he backed a lot of their type of business, right? You know what I'm saying? He helped get a lot of those small businesses off the ground or whatnot, did things that other people couldn't do. So it was interesting, right? That when he came on the scene, you heard him in rap videos. Everybody wanted to be like Trump, have money
Yeah.
like Trump, right?
Yeah.
He was cool. But then when he started being Toto, right, and ripping off the veil to show who the Wizard of Oz really was, then he became public enemy number one, right? Oh, he's racist. Oh, he's this. He's that, and all the other things. But all I know is I had more money in my pocket when he was in office. I could.
Oh, yeah.
People was taking trips. People was doing all kind of stuff when he was in office, man, that they wasn't doing.
Now I know Joe doesn't want to fall for the Trump psyop the second time around.
No,
right?
I think he's just one of them. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's become increasingly obvious for various reasons, but just last week, Alex Jones reached out to Trump and gave Trump a chance to walk back the
vaccine comments.
I'm just going to say it, the vaccine comment, and he doubled down. He said, no, the vaccine is good and people should take it. Look, I understand that he wasn't on Epstein's flight logs as many times as Bill Clinton, but he was still on them.
Well, I don't think he was on Epstein's flight.
He wasn't in that
There's
black book though. He was. It's the flight logs, and then there's that black book. On that
There's
black
photos
book.
of them together, but
Yeah.
Was he not on the Lolita Express and Pedo Island?
I don't think he was on those flight logs. Clinton was.
Well, I know Bill was on like 26 times.
Yeah. Bill's on there, but you got Chris Rock, you got Naomi Campbell.
Eminem's on there.
Eminem.
The point is that Trump bends the knee to this. He answered. I admire Owen Benjamin quite a bit, and he as wrong as he is on a lot of things, but he put it better than anybody. Trump and Biden both. They're both pranksters. The only difference between Trump and Biden is that Trump's pranks are funnier, and they both read banker scripts, and he just reads them in a way that's funnier. But they both serve the same master. I mean, he's not a Catholic.
Why are they attacking him so much? That's my thing. Why are they getting all this?
What's with the insane? Like, we have to do everything to stop him, bringing him up.
If they were to.
It's
they
so
let
they
him
can.
win. I mean, they let him win.
It's so they can destroy whatever's left of the republic at this point.
And if they're gonna prop up a fake enemy, you think they're not gonna attack him? I mean, of course they are. But
like this though.
But I ain't never seen them attack. You know, I'm 42, right? They ain't attacked Bush like this. Both Bushes. They ain't did. You know,
they kind of did. They had a similar. They had a similar reaction.
Friend, though. You know what I'm saying? Like now they praise him.
George W. was a company man. That guy,
Yeah.
I mean, he gave us Iraq. He gave
another
that
conspiracy
guy.
that he did in JFK.
Yeah, like
I don't know, man. I mean, I've seen Trump at the Wailing Wall. To me, he's just as much of a company man as anybody else.
No, I think Trump is a narcissist, and he's not that bright with certain things. Okay, so he's gonna run. Okay, so all right, we got to be so careful how we talk about this subject.
Yeah.
So much of our foreign policy is based on Protestant end times prophecy, like incorrect Protestant.
I know what you're getting at. Yeah,
I gotta be very careful how you say it because they really believe a third temple needs to be built, and they think that Christ is gonna, like their eschatology is so off that our foreign policy is warped by that. So like 90% of Republican Christians that support Israel like that are doing it based on their incorrect.
not me. Yeah, Zionism.
Zionism, like it's totally incorrect understanding of biblical.
And then if we
prophecy.
want to speak eschatologically, I will. I'm going to recommend a book. I'm about halfway through Father Elijah.
I love that book.
It's fantastic.
Have
But
you ever read it before?
no, this is my
Oh,
first
it's so
go-around.
good, man. Such
Wonderful.
a good
It's
book.
awesome book.
Yeah.
But basically, what you're telling me is that and you're right. You're 100% right about the Protestant idea of the rebuilding of the third temple and stuff like that.
But that's what
of which the Antichrist will probably come
Right.
out.
Yeah.
That's what
So
they're
he's
using to
complicit.
convince people. the leaders don't believe that BS.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think some.
Well, that's true. That's true. The leaders don't.
Right,
The,
because
the
leaders
elites
are,
do. And the
No, I
globalists,
think some
don't-
do.
they was all,
the leaders aren't. The leaders aren't atheists.
But Trump also, the reason this even came up is because Trump was, he put the U.S. Embassy back in Jerusalem, and like he's doing these things, I think, just because he really does want to be a man of the people, right? So we all know the guy wasn't pro-life before he became president, right? And then all of a sudden he's speaking at the March for Life. Like he's trying to be.
But he was the only president that did that, though, right?
Right.
All the
So
other
he's
ones
trying
paid lip
to be
service to it. Yeah.
100%. And he's trying to be a populist leader. He's really trying to give conservatives some things that they always wanted. So even if he never fully was at heart in it, I think he would do certain things. So putting the embassy back in Jerusalem was not so much because Trump anything. Like I think he was just trying to be a good populist leader, and he knows, the base is that's what the base wants. So he was trying to feed a lot of that.
Populism has got that's the opposite of populism, because a foreign policy that centers around Israel is neoconservative. That's not populist. I
think Trump has a lot of neoconservative ideas left over from the early 2000s and 90s.
I don't think Trump has any ideas. He's a
agree.
tool for everyone around him.
So I think that he's a good businessman. I think that he did want to disrupt certain. Listen, you see a couple of the speeches he gave at the UN, and he's like, "You guys want to make it like this?" And no, we want to have sovereignty in our nation. We're not building this globalist utopia you guys think you're building here. So I think that is the main reason they want. Like I don't think he's a puppet of the globalists. I don't.
He could have got rid of Fauci at any time.
Could have, but we wouldn't have known as much about Fauci as we do now.
I think Trump was
in an election. That's very convenient.
I don't agree.
Unless you study him, right, with the AIDS and all of that, what he's been doing for years, right? Beforehand, when he did the same spill with the AIDS thing,
for sure, yeah,
right.
Which Trump
would
now,
Trump knows where the body. Trump quite literally probably knows where the bodies are buried, and left everything in place, and then added people like John Bolton and his son-in-law.
Oh, that was his worst. That was his worst decision ever, bringing John Bolton on as national security. Like, what was he thinking with that move? That was
don't forget who did the lockdowns occur under.
Yeah,
it wasn't Biden. It wasn't Biden. It wasn't President Clinton. It was Donald Trump.
I think
that's true. But
I think
then,
that was an election
had he not
year.
did it right, and we got a large population of people, right, that would have excoriated him had he not locked things down. They would have threw everything at him and said, "Oh, he's killing people. He don't want to, he's not listening to science and all of this." And quite as it may be that we understand psyop type stuff, a lot of American people don't. They weren't even waking up yet to that during that time. But now a lot of them have. Once they have had to see and walk to the precipice and really see for themselves, like, this is real deal. This is what's really happening. Y'all got fooled on a lot of this stuff. Now, I'm not saying Trump is the savior and all of that stuff. Nah, I ain't saying that. But what I do know is, like I said, the proof is in the pudding. Brother man went over to the UN and made them pony up more money than any other president. All the other presidents paid lip service or installed presidents, whatever you want to call them. But I do know that my bank account was larger. My wife could stay at home and work. I could do more things for my kids and for myself than I had under any of the Bushes, under Obama, and definitely under Clinton, because I was a little kid at that time, so I wasn't working. So there's a lot of good that the man did do. Now, does he need to come back and be president again? I don't know. But I don't. But if not him, then then it's like the Republican Party ain't got nobody on their bench.
So I just think Trump's a narcissist. Like, I just think it's like he would do so like him endorsing Dr. Oz, right? How do we get on this? That was whack. Conspiracies. So
he I don't know. Still win because.
But he goes and endorses Dr. Oz. Now he does this because Dr. Oz went and said something nice to him. And Trump is such a narcissist. If you go and say something nice, like the Democrats are so dumb, because if they would have just went and said something nice to him, he would have been a Democrat. Like he's just such a narcissist. Like he's not a dummy. He's just
Nah, he can't. He ain't a dumb man. Yeah, a lot of people
He's
think
not.
so.
He's not a dummy. He's just like he's just naive with certain things. I think. But all right, let's get off of Trump because this is like
okay. But last thing on Trump, not Trump, Hillary Clinton. Ain't we playing a different story? Ain't we?
Wait, say again.
If not Trump, and we would have had Hillary Clinton, we not talking right now.
You think? See, I think Trump made things advance and escalate quicker.
Yeah.
I think him getting in made them turn the speed up on everything just to get. Like I think it would have been it would have been a slower decline. Like think about how drastically. I mean, even like. I mean, you really want to go deep conspiracy? You're going to tell me that 2020 wasn't on purpose? Like I think 2020 was on purpose.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I think that whole thing was 100% on purpose. Released on us on purpose. I think every bit of that was on purpose.
Yes, and more yes. Because they saw the come on, man. This dude got 81 million votes.
Yeah. No, I mean the sickness. I think that was on purpose. Yeah.
Like, that's on purpose.
Yeah, I think the sickness was on purpose.
Wait till they got another one up their sleeve.
Well, I think they're going to do. I think you're going to start to see some crazy things coming up. In this midterm election, yeah, but in the 2024 election is going to be bonkers. Yeah, bro. Like it's going to be insane. Some of the things we're going to see and hear. It's making me nervous because, I mean, we're on the precipice of some kind of conflict. It's like I posted something today where it was like with the kids' sex change operations, right? And it's like. There's no way these two cultures can coexist.
Nope.
Like they can't. That has to come to a head, and one side's got to lose. Like it has to.
Well, if you think about it, Biden pushing the VA to do abortions in abortion-free states could easily spark a conflict. If a state like Florida tries to close down a VA or something, who knows what happens?
So, all right, let's go this route. I don't know anything about flat Earth.
The Earth is round.
I don't know anything about flat Earth. Now,
how do we know they don't even put a real picture of the Earth anyway? It's all digital pictures.
The Earth could be round and flat. Could be a disc.
So you're saying it's not a globe? It's not like a sphere. It's still round. But it's
I think that's what most flat earthers think, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Not saying you are one, but I think
I'm not a committed flat earther, and I haven't done that deep of a dive on it. But that seems to be the consensus. Yeah, a lot of people seem to think it's like a disc surrounded by ice.
Yeah. Okay, so what? Now here's a real question: when you're in Australia, does your toilet flush the other way, or is that a myth?
I don't know. We'd have to ask our Australian Twitter mutuals.
I believe that's the truth. I believe it's true. Yeah.
I don't think the water spins that way because of centrifugal force. I think it spins that way because the jets push it that way.
Well, it's called the Coriolis effect. Is what they tell us, right?
That's what they tell us, right?
I just know we can't. I just know we can't go to Antarctica for whatever reason.
All right, but wait, you go to Antarctica. I've seen penguins. What are you talking about?
We can go to a sliver of Antarctica.
Yeah, that's only a sliver.
And what's the conspiracy reason why we can't go?
The idea. Yeah, right. If the Earth is flat but a disc, right, then technically anywhere south is towards the outside of the disc. That's Antarctica, and that there's an ice wall around the livable section of Earth that we're in, and they don't want anyone to see it. So that's why we.
Now, what would be the reason for hiding this information?
Because the same reason why they want to hide that dinosaurs are real, which I don't believe so. The same reason why they want to hide that it's fossil fuels, but not really showing you that, these oil deposits that were empty are now filling back up, that it's a natural produced substance. It's the same reason. All the psyops that we see.
All right, but how does GPS work? Like global positioning works because we have satellites going around the Earth.
Why couldn't you have satellites out in space above the disk?
Yeah, you can have satellites up there.
I don't see. All right, so look, fossil fuels, right? Listen,
Yeah.
the carbon tax thing, right? There's a reason they're doing that. They're doing that because they're trying to enslave us in some way, right? So they're trying to use carbon tax as if that's heating up the earth, so that this way here they can put a carbon tax on you, so they can make us impoverished. They can like they're trying to do
So
population.
you want to know the reason why they would not tell
like,
us the truth? Okay.
Yeah, like the whole climate change thing I know is nonsense because first of all, I've lived on Long Island my entire life, and the water level hasn't risen an inch. So it's like, don't tell me water levels are rising. Otherwise, Barack Obama wouldn't be buying beachfront property and along the coast.
The theories I've heard as to why they're keeping it a secret or whatever is that there's a lot of resources outside of that ice wall, enough to where everyone on Earth could be much more well off than we are, and they want to control it for themselves. That's what I've heard.
That's plausible.
That was the whole point of the episode. That's why we wanted to do it.
Listen, I'm willing to believe things, but you have to show me a reason for it. Like,
well, a lot of people say that the modern understanding of science and biology and earth science and things like that, it's centered around basically an atheistic framework, right?
Right.
So,
if you can prove Galileo and Copernicus wrong, if you can prove Darwin wrong, if you can prove all that wrong, then what's left is...
Okay, so I do believe in geocentrism because, that's from the Robert Sungenis documentary, basically, right? So it's like, it depends where you're standing. So relativity is a real thing. So Einstein proves relativity. So it's like, if you're standing on the Earth, why are they saying the Earth goes around the sun? If you're on the Earth, everything's going around us. So wherever you're standing is the center.
Have you guys heard of the evil of axis or axis of evil theory?
Well, isn't that the... No.
Not the Bush thing. Not the Bush thing.
Isn't that
No, over the last 10 to 20 years, they've discovered that there is a pattern. And this is actually like a scientific study. This isn't a conspiracy theory necessarily. They've discovered a pattern to the cosmic microwave background radiation that seems like the plane of the universe itself is actually based around our solar system. That the actual structure...
That's in the Sungenis documentary. So
is it?
It is.
Yeah, so it's like, if you listen, the Sungenis documentary is great, man. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's like, so he basically interviews like Michio Kaku and what's that guy, Larry, all these like mainstream scientists. He interviews them and goes over all this info with them. He's like, yeah, isn't this kind of weird? Look at all this info we're looking. And they're like, yeah, it's like all this cosmic radiation is pointing right at Earth, and it's like he's showing how infinitely impossible it is for life to exist on Earth, but it only does because of these certain things that are happening in the universe that are only happening near Earth. And they're all agreeing with it. And then after the documentary came out and they found out what it actually said, the whole thing was about geocentrism. They were like, he took my words out of context. That's not really what I said. But it's like, no, you literally proved the man's point. It's such a good documentary. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out.
Yeah. Now, everything is calibrated towards Earth, right?
All right, listen. SEC says the Southern Hemisphere. That's impossible on a ball.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with the vastness of space, which is often associated with a lack of meaning and the insignificance of humanity. Like they put out that black holes. They got the audio of a black hole, and so I got a text from somebody I know, and they were like, they just sent me the clip, and they're like, "LOL, this is so fake," and like it's such obvious nonsense, and like, evolution too it's all wrapped up in it. It's all basically to make you believe that you're just, a bag of meat.
And if you think about it, I mean, like, they realize that their, equations can't explain the structure of the universe. So what do?
Right.
85% of everything that exists in the universe
Dark
is
matter.
just something we can't see or detect.
Dark matter, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, dude, Rob, if you haven't seen
I wish I could do that on a test, get 85% of it wrong and be like, You just didn't see the answer. It's
But
there.
if you say Earth is the center of the universe, you don't need to pretend there's dark matter.
Right,
That's
exactly.
That's really what it is. So it's like,
Remember,
because
they would say empty space.
Yeah.
it's not even empty space. It's dark matter. There's something holding everything together, which, what's his name? Dante would say was love, right? Love is what holds everything together. But they changed that to gravity and inertia. So it's like they just had to. Yeah, I don't listen. Evolution and geocentrism. I mean, geocentrism I think is true. Evolution is nonsense. Evolution is like, it's so easily provably wrong because it's like, okay, can something come from nothing? No, but you know, we came from primordial sludge. Okay, so now primordial sludge magically turns into a bacteria.
That was quickened with some lightning, right?
Yeah, it just magically lightning hits it. It turns into a bacteria. Okay, so now natural selection happens. Okay, how does nature select genetics that aren't there? Like you can't.
The bombardier beetle blows that all up, literally and figuratively. The bombardier beetle. The bombardier beetle disproves evolution on a macro scale. You know what I'm saying? The bombardier beetle. Look, it's a beetle that got like a little gun turret on its abdomen, and it mixes these two noxious gases together, and it shoots it. Causes like an explosion.
You should call that thing an AR-15 beetle.
Yeah, like an AR-15. It can shoot it like a turret, or it can
blows holes right through
really
things.
Hot. Yeah, it's really hot.
Now I want to look up bombardier beetles.
Yeah, look it up. It's really cool. There's also the European woodpecker whose tongue curves all the way around from the behind its head down through its nose and comes out its mouth. And it's got like 3 different variations of a tongue. One is like straight, one is serrated. And it can get the insect, and it creates this like sticky like substance to get the insect. When it pulls it into its mouth, it creates another solvent that dissolves it, so it can swallow the bug and not choke. Man, it's all kind of evidence out here that they just ignore.
It's like, okay, so there is obviously there's adaptation, right? So it's like when they brought wild boar from Europe to America. They were released in Texas, and they adapted to have tusks, right? So you have adaptation, but not evolution of crossing a species. Like a frog can't become a bird, you know. It's like it's just not going to happen. But you can have an actual species evolve to not evolve though. It's really adapt to its environment. So you have. You know, the American Mustang, after the Mustang comes to America, it actually starts to evolve differently than the European horse. Like it just does. It's in a totally different climate now. It's in a totally different. It's eating different foods. So animals can adapt to their situation, but you'll never see a horse become a whale. You know, it's like I don't care how many billions of years go by. It's just not going to happen.
They say billions and billions and billions of years.
So
I need what Luminous mother say. I need to know.
She wants to know why dinosaurs aren't real, but all right. So I mean, dinosaurs are real, right?
I used to believe it, but the more I'm looking at stuff now, man, I don't know, man. It's a big question mark for me because it's
I have no issue with stuff like that.
Just say dragons.
Well, I think dragons and other legends like that can. I think one, it could show that dinosaurs were real, and 2, that we coexisted with them, right? I mean,
so I don't see a problem with God having all right. So when God says He creates the world in 7 days, right? Like a day on Earth is not the same thing as a day for it doesn't mean one revolution around the sun, right? Like it doesn't mean that.
That would be called a year, but
you're right. The Earth rotating 360 degrees. You're right, 100%.
Couldn't help myself.
Yeah. No, I don't. I would have called myself out too. So it's like that doesn't. God is not on the Earth. So why does a day have to mean a 24-hour rotation? Right. So it's
Speaking of rotation, look at Joe.
Yeah, Joe, where you going? Why are you sideways?
Joe went sideways.
He's frozen. Yo, why are you sideways, bro? What do you do?
Joe just edited.
They got him. They got him for the conspiracy theories.
One revolution around the sun. Martin's making fun of me.
No,
Listen, high
hey,
school dropout.
what Anthony said was exactly right. A day is not a revolution around the sun.
That's right. Exactly. It's not. So
yeah, I just took my kids to the Perot Museum in Dallas, right? And they got like some dinosaur exhibits and all this stuff. But I am being in my former days as a science teacher, I would never indoctrinate my students, but I always give them two paths to look at. But one of the things is you got this little, not little, but to them, this T-Rex, right? And I just look at things from just a normal human perspective. This thing got these tiny little ass arms, right? Can't do nothing but this big old tail and this big old head, these big old teeth. I'm like, yes, okay, like
now look,
right.
Right. So the fossil record is incomplete. Like there's no actual proof for
right of all the dinosaur species. We have what 10% of the skeletons.
Like we'll have a skull. We don't have like a full dinosaur. Like it's
No.
like you'll catch a vertebrae here and
we
there.
have 4 bones, and they bring in some artist to fill out the
yeah,
rest.
exactly.
Yeah.
They'll throw it in a computer simulator, and they're like,
Oh,
"Well,
and
we
that's what
got
they
this
come out
tailbone that's this big, but this is from a T-Rex that's 80 feet long, and a Brontosaurus looks like." I think that, I mean, they were caught in trying to find the missing link between like.
And it's Lucy, right?
Yeah, right. All right. So they got caught lying about finding the missing link between Cro-Magnon man and the Homo sapien. It's like the whole thing was a hoax. They got caught in it, and then it just never was ever spoken about because they just wanted to pretend it never happened. How did the Stegosaurus make love to?
That's a good point, actually.
Stegosaurus.
Dude, I've seen some wacky ways that animals mate. Like we could.
Okay, wouldn't it be like, okay, what they say, the alligator, right? It's kind of like a modern version of.
Well, they used to, but now they say it's dinosaur. Or now they say birds are dinosaurs, right?
Oh, birds are. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they got the feathers.
So now they started putting feathers in all the dinosaur pictures.
Yeah.
All right. So wait. Now,
Luminous Mother asked about aliens. They say.
Okay.
So
aliens.
Let's. Yeah, we got some good information on that actually.
We have to do with the aliens because we're gonna. I think this should be the final topic because I can't do more than an hour.
No, well,
I haven't
after.
slept.
Yeah. It would be good to talk about. It would be good to talk about Heather O'Rourke though.
Oh yeah.
Who?
And just kind of that whole. Well, especially with Robbie with Hollywood, that'd be you're right.
Oh, was that the one that with
The one in the poltergeist.
The poltergeist little girl.
Oh,
okay. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, this one is.
Yeah, she died shortly after.
I have no idea.
That one's a rough one.
This it really infuriated me actually.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Before you go on, Rick. So you're telling me an animal from 80 million years ago, they found a skeleton of it, and the feathers survived and fossilized? Is that what I'm supposed to believe? Sure. Okay. All right. So go ahead. Who's Heather O'Rourke? What am I missing?
So before we get into Heather O'Rourke, real quick, because the aliens question is actually kind of important. Maybe Robbie's looked into this. Operation Bluebeam.
Oh yeah.
I was just
Blue Beam or Blue Book?
Just looking at that.
Because Blue Book was the cover up of Roswell.
This is Bluebeam. It's a little different.
Okay, I
So
haven't heard of that
the guy who found it's a Canadian. Shout out to my friend Kennedy Hall, right?
Is this a Kennedy conspiracy?
Yeah, he's behind it. This guy Serge Monast is his name. So he's a journalist, poet, essayist, conspiracy theorist according to Wikipedia. I have Wikipedia open now. So he found it. Okay. So in 1994, he published Project Bluebeam, in which he detailed his claim. So now Wikipedia wants to make this sound ridiculous when it's obviously true, because we saw this stuff about aliens like a year ago, in which he detailed his claim that NASA, with the help of the UN, was attempting to implement a New Age religion with the Antichrist at its head and start the New World Order via a technologically simulated second coming of Christ.
With the aliens,
now who
being.
tried to do
Yeah,
this?
that's what they've
that his name is Serge Monast, and a lot of people have given
And
some credence to his Operation Bluebeam. There's a lot
Okay,
of
no.
research that could be
and
done.
apparently,
Alright,
and apparently, the
think
IRS
about-
will give you a tax credit if you blue, like some blue covers on your headlights. They'll give you like $700 tax credit.
Oh,
All right, so listen, the alien thing. Now, over the past 18 months, we saw Tucker Carlson doing these things. We see the CIA releasing video that our military keeps seeing
Joe Rogan,
these drones and they're
Yeah.
we don't know
Yeah.
what they are. And now, classically, the government would never release this stuff, right? And anybody who ever mentioned anything about it was a crazy conspiracy theorist, and you're a wacko and you're a nut. Why over the past 18 months are they starting to actually let these things out? And then you have Barack Obama comes out, I think like 7 months ago, and he goes, I think there may actually be aliens. And, if they ever revealed themselves, you'd actually see a new religion get started. Find that quote by Barack Obama. Rob, look that up because you're quick with that.
Yeah, I mean,
So Barack
there's two
Obama
things.
alien religion quote. Like Google that. See if something comes up.
Anthony just Jamie'd Rob. Anthony was all Joe Rogan.
Pull it up, Jamie.
pull that shit up, Rob.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm with you.
Here-
They can either be fallen angels, right? That can manifest themselves because
Right,
one
so,
of the things they
so
like
that's
to
what
do
Judah
is-
says, right? So now, okay, now, I do think a lot of the technology that exists today is due to hidden knowledge from spirits. Like, okay, so it's like if you go back to the times of Noah, what was going on that God flooded the earth? Like, why did God flood the earth? It's like you started to have the angels intermingling with humans, right? Like
You're talking
it's
Talk about the
Nephilim?
Nephilim, and like you're starting to get
Yeah,
so
but
it's like
see, I understood that to be totally different than because
okay, but wait,
angels ain't got no equipment.
You're
to-
right.
okay, but wait,
Aliens
like-
are incorporeal. So
okay, so you're missing something though. Okay, so look at it like this: incubus and succubi, right? An incubus is a feminine spirit who takes a man's seed, right? That's what an incubus is. Now, look at what
I
they're
thought that
doing
was a
with
succubus.
Or succubus, I'm sorry, that's right.
That's
Succubus. Succubus is a feminine spirit who takes the man's seed and then it impregnates into. Look up what an actual succubus is. I got that. I could pull that one up. Hang on. So,
Do you want me to read the Obama quote?
yeah. Read the Obama quote.
So he goes, it's interesting. It wouldn't change my politics at all because my entire politics is premised on the fact that we are these tiny organisms on this little speck floating in the middle of space. But no doubt there would be immediate arguments about well, we need to spend a lot more money on weapon systems to defend ourselves. New religions would pop up. And who knows what kind of arguments we would get into. We're good at manufacturing arguments for each other.
So now he's saying, I think there might be aliens, and you might start getting new religions pop up, things like that, right? So, all right. So a succubus is a demon or supernatural entity in folklore in female form that appears in dreams to seduce men, usually through sexual activity. According to religious traditions, repeated sexual activity with the succubus can cause poor physical or mental health, even death. In modern representations, a succubus is often depicted as a beautiful seductress or enchantress, rather than demonic or frightening. The male counterpart would be an incubus. Think about what they are doing with IVF.
Yeah,
It's witchcraft.
that's interesting. Yeah,
It's witchcraft. They're
well, even now with the gender transition, that's all Baphomet.
it's
even
all
Baphomet
witchcraft.
right there,
Like you got to really think of it like that. Like you have to see things on a spiritual level. It's like they're taking a man's seed and a woman's egg and they're implanting them. There's no sexual act whatsoever going on. It's like it's such a weird, twisted, evil thing they're doing there. And it's like we're such materialists now that we don't see that is witchcraft. Like you're playing you're playing God there. You're it's like you're messing around. So even pornography, right? Like men who are looking at these images online, you're worshiping an idol when you do that. You're giving a part of your soul to a moving image, Like it's really like we're such materialists, we don't see it that way, but that's literally what you're doing. You're worshiping an idol when you watch pornography, and if you think of it that way, it should actually like help you in your fight against that. If you're struggling with something like that, it's like you really have to see it.
Well, TV as a whole, right? TV as a whole is witchcraft, can be witchcraft too. I'm not saying all TV is bad, but that's because we, have to filter out what's good and what's bad with it. But the people that made it are definitely into the occult. Okay, they
but wait,
know
Max,
exactly
it's
what
not round; it's a disc. So shut up.
No one said the moon was flat.
Right? Yeah, no one said the moon was flat.
Oh,
The moon is cheese. We all
We
know
wouldn't know. We've never been there.
Cheese.
All right,
We could make this show this version of the show a weekly thing and never touch everything.
never touch anything.
No.
So, all right, let's get back to
the aliens. Though, with the aliens, one thing that has me just like is because look at us, right? We each got different, unique characteristics, right? I can tell who Anthony is. I can tell who Joe is. I can tell who Rob is, right? Y'all can definitely tell who I am, right? No questions. But when they start showing these aliens, so-called aliens, right? These grays and all this other stuff.
They're all the same.
They ain't got no wee. They ain't got none of them cut. They ain't got no cut to them. None of them got a beard. Ain't no one rocking no ice. No haircut, no fades. They all same with the big eyes, small mouths. I'm like, yo, man, like, okay, God is very cool, creative with us, but then he just got bored with them. That don't make no sense to me.
Well, that's always, those depictions are always trying to make it like all the things that we do are lower forms of evolution. Eventually we'll evolve where we don't even need clothing. Our brains will be so big, and it's like shut up. Shut up. It's just ridiculous.
Nah.
Martin, yes. Joe does have a picture of Marcel behind him.
No matter what room he goes to.
Yeah, it moves with it. Yeah.
I fully expect him to bring it on the trip in October.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll be there, especially if we do a show.
Well, all right. So we are all going to Steubenville October 7th. Everyone on screen right now. So Robbie lives in Texas. Rob lives in Minnesota. Joe and I both live on Long Island. So Joe and I are going to drive together. The Tradmen are also going. So Jason and Mark are both going. It's going to be the six of us. We rented I found a 4-bedroom house on Airbnb. There's only three beds, so we got to bring air mattresses. I think there's a couch though, so we'll all fit. We'll figure it out. Robbie, if you got an air mattress, bring one just in case, because we definitely have enough room. We just need more beds. And we're going to go and harass Matt Fradd a little bit, I think.
Did we get word from Mike if he's going or no?
He knows the dates. If anybody is close enough to drive to Steubenville, October 7th to the 9th, meet us down there, man.
Whoever that was that commented, yes, there will be infiltrating Steubenville. That's correct.
There was talk Eric Sammons and Mike from RTF would be there.
Eric Sammons and Mike from RTF are probably. Eric said he may come down, but he's having a little bit of a scheduling issue. Yeah, he has kids.
I don't know if you caught it, Anthony, but I think that was once you were for sure. He suddenly found an excuse.
Oh, is that what it was?
I think he was being. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
I might have missed that.
Heather. Oh yeah. Joe, can we finish? Can we
Heather O'Rourke?
So Heather O'Rourke.
Rob too was pretty well up on this.
Well, I read it as soon as you posted it. I'm like, well, what's that? So I read up on it.
Yeah, so we're both working off the same information. If anybody wants to look this up, the website is Vigilant Citizen. The Vigilant Citizen.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
So the gal's name is Heather O'Rourke. If we're O'Rourke, excuse me. You're familiar with the movie The Poltergeist from 1982? She's a little girl in the movie.
Yeah.
We could go quite into depth here. So I know we don't have too much time, but
I know that horrible things were done to that poor girl.
Yeah.
Horrible things were done to that poor girl.
So I hate to. One doesn't want to be graphic, but the movie is about mods, I suppose ghosts or something. Well, whatever a poltergeist is, going after children specifically through the television. It's really terrible once you start to look into it, because the movie is about preying on children, and she is cast, I think, another 2 times, and she her cause of death had to do with an intestinal
Crohn's disease.
blockage. Yeah,
She was
with
she
an
was
intestinal
raped.
blockage, and she had no
She was raped.
repeatedly.
Yeah.
And
She
the
was
director of
basically
this movie
raped
was Steven Spielberg, and obviously he's never been brought. You don't want to get brought up on any defamation suits, but you know. You
Yeah,
do the
so
math.
I mean, guys, I hope there's no children watching this. This is really not a family-friendly episode, but I would hope people would see.
And we
So,
have
yeah,
Macaulay, and Rob pointed out what Macaulay Culkin said.
Yeah, and that was
What did he say?
he said I mean, he supposedly said a lot. Granted, no one's ever produced the actual recordings or transcripts, but he supposedly said that at one point, supposedly Steven Spielberg told him personally that he killed or it was involved in the death of Heather O'Rourke. But there's there's been weird things that have happened at her graves where a strange man was seen taking stuff from the grave. Her body, there's evidence that her body was actually unentombed and then re-entombed by the police, and then later the police came back to unentomb her again, and the cemetery staff asked them why they're doing it again, and they were like, "What do you mean? We've never done this before." But no one knows why
Could be
it
different
was
cops did it. Could have been,
right,
could have been
but
different.
no reason's ever been given as to why it was ever done.
Right.
But then her grave was broken into.
Oh, we lost Rob. What happened to
We lost
Rob?
Yeah,
Did I boot him off the stream on
I had a
accident?
bit of an issue myself.
What happened there, Rob?
I just got kicked.
Satan is busy, boy.
On
So,
YouTube?
my
Guys, are we
audio
still on
started to
YouTube?
mess
Did we all
up.
get
Hey,
booted?
make sure y'all hit yourselves with some holy water after this episode. Man.
Yeah.
I got
think
5
it was-
gallons upstairs.
Yeah.
I don't think he was happy with that, man.
Nah, he wasn't. He wasn't, Joe.
Oh, wait, Rob.
I know.
Since Rob
I
had to
know.
tell me about a year around the sun. Rob's wife, thank you, Hope.
Also, hope it would be spelled unentombed, UNENTOMBED.
Yeah, Rob, you're not winning this one. She's right. Thank you, Hope. Appreciate it.
But anyways, there was some like graffiti left at her grave that what more or less said like RR what was it? RR wore her out, and RR is like the acronym for the show she was filming at the time she died.
Yeah.
So I there's a lot of like actually somewhat substantiated things with that theory.
Yeah.
It seems,
Yeah, I've
I
heard
wanted
a
to say
lot.
it seems all but certain.
Yeah, that-
So prepping for heaven says she's totally lost. Doesn't know what we're talking about. So we're doing conspiracies. Prepping for heaven. So this is not a family-friendly episode. I know you came in a little bit late. So we just been bouncing around a lot. We started talking about aliens and what we think aliens are. So
Wait, is that Haley?
No, I don't think so. Haley comes in with her real name, doesn't she? And she's a mom.
It looks like her Robbie, but I don't know. There's it's almost 9 o'clock
Is that
already.
you, Haley?
We should do another one at some point because we should talk about John Podesta at some point because that's relevant
Oh
now.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
You seen some of that stuff, man?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Now you
Yeah,
have to be
well-
careful using
well-
those words. Like we could
Well,
say
John
gate,
Podesta's back. He's
we
back
could say
now.
gate,
I mean,
and then we could talk about maybe it's like pizza later, and then
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah,
could say
yeah.
how he's coming back to the White House to advise Biden now.
which he is. Yeah.
Um,
So Podesta, we could talk about Podesta and
Is
his
it the
relationship
real JP? No.
and his perhaps I don't know potential relation to Chester Bennington from Lincoln Park.
Oh yeah.
I don't. The one conspiracy theory I'm especially this is deep conspiracy hole stuff. I don't know if Robbie's seen any of this. I saw a video once where Brett Kavanaugh looks suspiciously like Christine Blasey Ford.
Really?
Yeah, I might be able to get some stuff for that.
Okay,
on
yeah,
YouTube.
yeah. Run that
And,
way, run that
Real
way
quick,
to me,
before
Joe.
we bounce, we only got a few minutes left. We only got like 5 minutes left. So The alien thing, I think they're prepping us for something. I think this is another three-letter agency thing. They don't release information like that for no reason. I think they're prepping us for something. They're going to come out and tell us there's aliens. I do not think there will be.
We're gonna have a fake invasion, right?
Yeah, I don't even know about a fake invasion. I think they're going to come out with their proof that aliens are real. So, yes, Kaiser.
Annalise Michelle is just plain truth.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
a
yeah,
that's
that
just
was
a
real.
I don't know that
possession,
one.
demonic possession.
That's the movie they
oh,
made.
Emily Rose.
That was true. Emily Rose.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exorcism of Emily Rose is a great movie. We actually talked about that. I talked about that on
With
the
Connor?
show with Connor and Rick. But yeah,
I
so
think-
I think they're going to actually come out and tell us that aliens are real at some point, and that's going to make it so that, well, if we find out aliens are real, then I guess the Bible can't be real, and then I guess they're going to try and use it to completely like throw Christianity for a bigger loop than I mean, the church is nearly fallen apart completely at this point. I don't even know how much more damage they need to do to it to really bury it, but it seems like that's what they're lining up for.
People who already believe in it anyway, they say like, oh, the Bible is fake and aliens are real, so we probably ain't gonna move the needle that much. Unless you macking me, at McDonald's with a burger, a Happy Meal.
Then it's funny. We did 2 of these conspiracy shows, and we never once talked about sedevacantism, Beneplenism. We never talked about like any of the
JP1 being murdered. He was just
JP1 being
Oh,
murdered.
that's another one.
Being murdered.
Well, those are all starting to seem a lot less like conspiracy.
The Saint Alien Mafia.
I could see JP1 being murdered. Honestly, I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
a
that
lot
would
of
be
Masons in that too. It's a lot of
I
Masons.
think
in
he
the
could have been
RP too.
murdered, but I don't think because he was going to expose Freemasons. Probably because
I think it was more
Vatican Bank
probably.
stuff.
Yeah, I think it was financial stuff.
Yeah, Vatican Bank stuff.
There are some
But
that
it's-
say he wanted to bring the Latin Mass back. I don't know how true it is.
But
In-
listen, you're gonna get people that want to make it like he was murdered for the right reason. I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about it.
I don't know. I mean, look at his papal name, John Paul. He seemed
Yeah,
to
he
be.
was trying to continue the council.
Yeah.
So,
So I don't know.
I don't know why that would be a demonic deception. The tapes from the Annalise Michelle possession are pretty clear that like all the things that were changing in the Novus Ordo were wrong. I mean, I don't see why that would be a demonic deception. It's like all the changes that the council had put forth were like completely destroying everything. It seemed. Okay, let's see. All right, so I guess we're gonna wrap this one up. I mean, is there anything else we should touch on this episode? This episode was all over the place.
We'd be here for we'd be here for another hour if we did.
Yeah, we
At
So
least.
let's do this like once a month. And you know what?
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun to just goof around and we're just
Yeah, where else all these other people gonna get a show like this, right? You know what
Yeah,
I'm
we
saying?
just
We should see if Steve Cunningham wants to come on. He loves.
yeah. Well, if we're gonna get Cunningham on, we got to talk Fourth Industrial Revolution and Great Reset stuff. He is.
Can somebody get us Williamson or no?
Bishop Williamson.
Yes, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike could probably help,
Yeah, we should get Williamson.
but for conspiracies, or do we have to tell him like? Do we have to?
Well, he likes it. I mean, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Williamson's body of work. He's done very good stuff on 9/11. Some other questions that we won't talk about right now.
Yeah. I think this video's in already be. You might get a strike on this.
The main, we all know. Let's just say we all know the main reason Bishop Williamson got in trouble.
Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
which was why that episode maybe goes up just on since it's Fidelium TV.
Yeah, we put
Yeah,
it on Tensor
yeah.
Battalion, or we could put it on
That might
on
not be
Rumble
so
or
bad,
something.
though.
We do a
It could
pre-recording
be
on
fun.
that one.
Yeah.
But all right, guys.
Hey,
listen,
take
if
us
you-
out. Take us out with prayer. Let's end it.
Oh, you guys
Nice prayer.
lead. I'm not. I always feel like.
It's our mother's birthday today. Let's
that's true.
honor her.
Well, we want to do an Ave.
Rob, why don't
Yeah, let's do an Ave.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's do
Rob,
an Ave.
lead us in Ave.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
Santa Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Okay. Well,
All right,
it's
guys.
been fun.
Yeah, thanks for hanging. Thanks for watching. Sweet dreams tonight. I hope nobody has any nightmares after this one. Hit like, subscribe. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow night.
Hold on, Anthony. Your mic went out. What was that?
Trivia tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're doing it a little bit late. Connor's doing a show at 7 p.m. So he's going to have his show on the Lord of the Rings thing. We didn't want to be interrupting each other. So we will see you guys tomorrow night at 9. If anybody wants to come, Joe, if you want to come, you're welcome. I don't know if you got stuff going on. Robbie, you're obviously invited. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Rob, take us out.